Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for patiently waiting. We welcome you to one-day webinar on re-envisioning the future of businesses and education, rebuilding a stronger foundation. I'm Dr. Viju, and a warm welcome from Team Kripanidhi Group of Institutions. Before we begin, I like to call upon Dr. Sam Paul Isaac, our director and also the main organizer for the entire webinar. So I hand over to you, sir.
Good morning to one and all. It's indeed a great pleasure to host this webinar, this one-day webinar on this day. We want to welcome everyone who's a part of this now and who will join later to be a part of this one-day webinar. The webinar that we're going to have is on re-envisioning the future of business and education and building a stronger foundation. In the times that we're going through, we need to build our foundation stronger. When people find themselves, totally, changing their mind and looking for different opportunities and what dreams they had, the dreams have been changed because thinking of the circumstance, what they're going through. This COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted the lives worldwide, with every sector experiencing the unexpected. The jolt of the situation is faced not only by the industries, but a huge impact is also seen in the education sector, as both the students and the teaching fraternity are faced with uncertainty and concern about their future. Education is the foundation on which young talents nurture and bud out into the world. This pandemic, however, has left a lasting impact on their minds as they get fed with the news of fetching jobs being a struggle and pursuing dreams an impossibility now on a daily basis. For a student today, the field of arts, music, or sports look more non-lucrative than ever before, while the pandemic confines every other industry as well. Many dreams that we have, we want to become something, we want to be, actor, we want to get into the sports, we want to get into the research. What has happened, this pandemic has completely transformed or changed people's life, and they start switching on to go into a different sector. Okay, and they had an aim that they want to be someone, but that's not happening. The very reason that we want to have this webinar is not to give up in this tough times, in these hard times, not to give up, because we are going to rise stronger and powerful in these tough times. It's a matter of time with this new normal. Whatever dream it might be in different sectors, we want to emphasize and bring in the best in art or music or industry to tell the story of how that we are going to rebuild and make ourselves grow very stronger from the defeat that what we are going through, and people going through fear, depression, all that. But we want to tell that nothing to fear. The future is bright. We are going to come stronger and stronger, and we're going to see things move in our life. And we are experts to talk and experts to discuss and tell and put that hope and remove that fear out from each one of us. So we are very glad and we welcome one and all. Please be logged in and don't log out. And we want you to bring in your friends and be a part of it, so that, we all are there. We stand together and we make this success, and we are here and we are so happy. And, we welcome Dr. Suresh, has been a great foundation and a help to us always. And I mean, everyone in India and across the world knows Sir, and he is a great speaker and a motivator and a person who could really connect with each one of us. Before I end, I would ask Dr. Riju to introduce Dr. Suresh. No introduction required for Sir. Everyone knows him, but still, as a formal way that we want to inform the people that we are with a great personality here, and he is really going to test the arts of everyone. Thank you, everyone, and be logged in, and we are going to have a successful webinar this entire day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. And now to introduce our chief guest, Professor Sudesh Bhojraj, Pro-Chancellor of JSS University and the President of Pharmacy Council of India, who had the unique honor of being elected thrice to this leadership position. He is also the delegate member of the United States Pharmacopoeia Convention and also the member of the Council of Convention of the USP. Sir is also the chairman of ACPE International Services USA. He was also the past president of Asian Association of Schools of Pharmacy, chairman of the education section of the Federation of Asian Pharmaceutical Association, and the executive member of Commonwealth Pharmaceutical Association. As we all know, Sir has pioneered the cause of promoting pharmacy practice concepts in India and has the unique honor of having introduced postgraduate program in pharmacy practice and the PharmD program in India. We're all very grateful to you, Sir. Sir also has to his credit several national and international publications as well as initiated several international collaborations through bilateral academic and research exchange programs. In recognition of his invaluable services in the field of pharmaceutical education, he is a recipient of several national and international awards, to mention in particular the FAPA Inchidite Award 2004 and Doctor of Science honoris causa conferred by the Tamil Nadu Dr. MGR Medical University, Chennai 2007. Sir is also the recipient of the prestigious Eminent Pharmacist Award of the Indian Pharmaceutical Association, the Emil Stroff Award of the Indian Hospital Pharmacists Association, and the J.P. Chatterjee Award of the Indian Pharmacy Graduate Association. So we are so privileged to have you over here. It's an honor for us. Thank you for being here. And now I hand it over to you, sir.
Thank you, Raju, and thank you, Sam Paul, for inviting me. At the outset, my warm greetings to all of you, and special greetings to Dr. Suresh Nagpal, who's a good friend of mine, and our friendship goes back to 30, 40 years now, since we were students at Government College of Pharmacy onwards. And it's also my pleasure to greet here my teacher and mentor, Dr. Karvekar, who is very strongly associated with Kripanidhi now for several decades, and he continues to be an excellent teacher, not only to me, but to many students at Kripanidhi and the faculty there in the Kripanidhi Institutes. I have been asked to come and speak at this platform where Kripanidhi webinar is going to speak throughout the day with various leaders coming in and speaking to you, talking about re-envisioning the future of both business and education, how businesses should respond and how education should respond, and what future is existing for it. And rightly put by Sam in his address in the beginning, that we will be back, we will rise, and the pandemic will pass. I fully endorse his optimistic views, because I myself am a very, very strong optimist, and I know these are challenges for all of us, and we will get over it and move forward. Now, while I was thinking, what I should speak to you on this morning and give a message, I was just going through these newspapers today. And the headline straight away speaks about the chief ministers meeting the finance minister and discussing about the challenges they are facing because of poor GST collections. Now, the country has estimated that they have lost about 2.35 lakh crores in the way of not being able to collect GSTs in the last 4 months. And this is going to be a challenge continuously, because businesses are down. So when there is no sale, when there is no process of buying and selling take place, automatically GST is going to be down. And all the budget that has been planned based on these collections, which would come way in the form of different taxes, are going to go RE. And this gave two proposals to the states. The center gave the two proposals to the state. One, that each state can borrow independently from the Reserve Bank of India with some reasonable interest, whatever the gap is, and continue to repay it after 5 years by collecting a cess again in the form of some collecting a cess maybe for the pandemic or whatever you want. So you end up paying little more and make good the losses that are going to be there. The other alternative was the central government itself will borrow this 2.35 lakh crores and make it available to the states, whatever was due in the form of taxes and what was promised to be given away to them. Now, the first option seems to be like, the state can borrow what it wants and use only to that extent. The second option is whether you use or not, we borrow for you, you end up all of you paying the same amount because that's what was borrowed by center to give to the states. So every state ends up paying the amount even whether they need or not, it ends up like that. I think every state has to take a call on this within a week and come back what they would like to do. Now, the amazing thing which I felt was in the whole exercise is, I do not know, they might have brought such proposal, but the media at least did not report. None of the states, I feel, have come to the proposal telling that we would like to take these steps to make good the losses that have happened because of non-availability of GST. And we want center's authorization or permission to do it. They all are looking at center telling that we have lost, so you give us money, with that money we will manage what to be done. What is the proposal from us? How do we run the show on our own? And really we can go to the center and ask for money that yes, we need this money because we did not. Maybe they have taken the proposal, but that proposal is not visible in the media at least. And media says only that they went there to ask, we need money and you are supposed to collect taxes and give it to us. Now you are not giving us, so we are in a difficult situation. So this is one typical example of a business environment, not at the micro level, even at the macro level, at the government level or national level, you can see this is the challenge. Now, what is required in this situation is to have a longer vision. I mean, we are talking of re-envisioning vision. I feel is if you have envisioned a vision which is large enough and which takes risks into account and has proper risk mitigation property, I mean the properties built into that risk mitigation properties, I think you do not need a re-envisioning of the business. Only thing is you take those steps which are there to mitigate the risks that has happened and move forward. At least this is what I look at as my perspective. Maybe people will say, yeah, it is easier said than done. But I strongly believe that a vision should take into account all such things, including failures, including thinking that in the event, if there is a failure, what am I going to do? How am I going to move on? Perhaps I think it's a wrong example to say some of the business houses, like, if they find losses, they leave the business and run away. But even some of those bad guys who are gangsters or whoever are there, they may be in an environment or place where they may not be able to do it, but they are still able to control their enterprise and run the business. Whether good or bad, they are running the businesses. So why we are running away from a single failure is something which we all have to ask ourselves repeatedly. Now, all these different views you are going to listen from different speakers. I am the first batsman, so maybe I am giving this perspective to you all. But different people will come through the day. I have seen great leaders there. They are all going to share you different visions. I have got. I think they definitely have what they have to say, and I would say that you listen to all of them. I am not telling that what I am telling is the best. You listen to all the visions which people will tell you how to run your business, how to run your education, what needs to be changed. All these things will be told to you, and listen to all of them. But let me tell you all, there is no one size fits all. What may be good for me from my experience depends on the environment and situation where I am working. Maybe you should take a little bit of best what I have done to succeed in my proposition. Maybe listen to somebody else who has done something in a different way and he has succeeded. Learn from all the examples, and maybe you have to design your own model which you would like to envision for your organization. Plan your businesses, plan your education, so that your future is something which what you wanted to do and you have been able to continue and achieve it despite and in spite of the challenges which you faced by the pandemic. I will take up another example. Now, again, the media is full of different perspectives being talked about. On one perspective is, should the NEET JEE be conducted or not? There is one group gone to the courts and telling, no, no, this pandemic, you are killing lives. You should not conduct NEET JEE. That is one perspective of the view. And today, the Honorable Minister for Higher Education, now it is known as Minister for Education, has told that there are several lakhs of students who want to write the examination. Now, what do we do about them? So it's a question of choice. Somebody is willing to move on in his life, telling that, okay, this pandemic will remain for another 2 years. So what am I going to do? Am I going to lock myself in the house and go on, or should I move on planning? It is his decision he is making. There is another person who is feeling that by exposing myself to a situation where my health may be at risk, I do not want to pursue the path. That is that individual's decision. But should each other compromise their vision for the other is something one has to be again take up the mind, take up and evaluate themselves. Okay, I may be having a perspective. What is my priority in life? So I would like to move in that environment and see that my priority is there, because it is my own decision I am making and not somebody else persuading me to take this, or I am going to lose an opportunity. Now, if I assume that I am losing an opportunity to take the examination this time and clear it, is my life going to come to an end? Is my whole career going to be doomed? No, you will wait for an opportunity when you would like to do and pursue what you want to do. It's a choice which every individual has to make, and I think this is something which we have to do it. Same is the question of examinations. Now, there's another court in the Supreme Court again talking about should the examination should be conducted or not conducted. Now, examination is an assessment of a student, and it is left to the system which is assessing the student how to do it. Yeah, if a particular student is again feeling threatened or compromised, and he feels that he cannot access to his education and move forward, I think he or she will have to take a decision individually and say that I feel at this moment I am not able to do this, but I would like to have an opportunity to pursue further. I think we can go on talking about such examples. And there are two different aspects to the whole matter. That, one is the humanitarian aspect. Yes, you can give weightage and listen to the humanitarian issues, that we have to be considerate and do it. Another thing is politicizing the same thing. Like, we should not get dragged into making a decision on somebody else what he is thinking is right. Yes, for national level, leaders have to think what is good for the nation. They can promulgate such policies which are good for the nation, because they have to keep in picture the whole range of people who may be there, who may have access, affordability, and all these challenges may vary. So they have the right to carry out those such decisions and announce it, giving enough flexibility for people to take their decision and move forward. And now, if we want to go all along that line, so what is more important is a very, very responsible behavior that is expected from the individuals and organizations, whether it's a business house, whether it is an educational institution, whether it is an individual. All we need to do is have a responsible behavior. Now, if I am reopening my campus for the students to come to the campus, what measures I have taken to decide that the campus is safe for my students? I have made all the steps that is required, and then I am asking the students, come, feel free to come in. But if you are hesitant to come in, we'll still provide you the education through online, and you can still learn at your own pace and come back when you feel confident. That choice is available to the students. I think this type of responsible behavior is what is expected, and that is what globally is happening. Everywhere assessments are made from the point of the education perspective. The institutions ask the students and the parents, what would you prefer? Would you like to come on a face-to-face and physical classroom situation, or would you like to learn online? The choice is given, and to certain extent, to certain level, the option is given to the parents that they can, and the parents and students that they can take a choice to move on. So, but the life has to go on. One cannot hold back the whole system for the sake of what we call as our own environment. So it's very, very important that these organizations, individuals will have to be responsible. Coming to the businesses, I am trying to tell. Education, yes, is a fact matter of disseminating and keeping in mind the stakeholders or students who are young, and they have to be helped with the decision making. So we are helping them with such decision making which is there. Coming to businesses, I think only one word is very important for the businesses. That is, they have to be resilient. They cannot run away from the responsibility of their stakeholders, be it their employees, be it their products, be it their responsibility to the society, because they decided to start a business house and run a business house. So it is a responsibility of theirs to face the challenge which may come to them, be resilient, and be able to move forward and achieve the growth. Now, coming again to the as I said, there's only one way for business houses to move forward and be successful or look at their future is resilience. They have to look at them. Now, coming to the educational institutions or education itself, the key word is innovation. For education to continue to be provided to the students, to its stakeholders, I think the only word that can help here in the education system is innovation. By what I am trying to tell by innovation is that not trying to do some new technologies and other things. How you can continue to provide the education to the students in the manner which is going to fulfill the objectives for which he is approaching you to get the education, how you can provide it. So what are the innovative ways you can use, whether it is online teaching or whether it is boot camps you want to conduct for them, whether you want to conduct some other special type of developmental programs for them. These are all left to the institutions and individuals to decide and bring it about, but only way is to drive innovation in education. And when I talk of innovation in education, another thing which caught my eye this morning again was that Google is coming out with their own new career certificate program. They say, we are not worried about your degrees. So if you are having these career certificates with you, it will make your life. And what I would like to say is education is different, and getting a qualification or a degree or a certificate is something different. What students come to an educational institution is to get education. It's not just the degree or qualification that is required. Now, in an education system, you get what we call as the knowledge which you may want, the skills that are required which is required, and you may end up with some qualification at the end. You have a BSc or you have a BCom, you have a BPharm, or you have a MBBS degree. These things all come into that. But most importantly, what is built into this qualification or this education itself is the attributes and attitudes that are there. So these programs, which we talk of, these programs of education coming, oh, we'll just give you a certificate. You don't have to go to a school or a university anymore. Now, will that certificate build the attributes in the person which is expected of him? Will he be responsible to the industry where he is going to work? Will he be able to consider all the stakeholders who are associated with the industry in the same perspective that these are all my people, I have to take care of them? Or is he just going to say, no, I have the qualification, based on this qualification, I am doing my job, so I am eligible for getting a pay which I am expected to do it. If that is the case, the industry houses will not be able to grow. So what is very important is the educational institutions provide to the students is the attributes and the attitude. What Sam Paul was just talking, you have to have an attitude that yes, I am going to succeed, I am not going to fail. I think this is something only an educational institution can teach, and not through a shortcut or through some certificate you get online or what. I am not decrying that. That is good after a certain point. Like, okay, you have all the education, now you want to get a specialized knowledge and skill. You go for that additional program, additional training, fine, because your foundation is already built. I think these are some of my thoughts in the mind. But ultimately, I come down to one single point. Like, if what is the vision which is being talked about, Is you want to re-envision the process of businesses and education to happen and really give the future which the country is going to look at, is I think only one key word is that the whole businesses, whole education is going to depend upon the leadership. It is all going to matter what type of leader you are having or you are going to have in your institution or business. Is the leader resilient? Is the leader capable of innovating? Is the leader feeling responsible that these are my people and I have to take care of their welfare? These are my staff, I have to take care of their welfare. These are my students, these are the people I have to take care. So if this type of feeling is going to exist in that leader, I think such businesses, such institutions will automatically have a very good future and move on. So I think the greatest responsibility now lies with the businesses and educational institutions is to identify and is to make sure that they are having the right type of leader with them. A leader who is able to embrace everyone and feel that here I am going to be with you and take you through this crisis. I'm not going to run away from here. I'm not going to say I did all my best, so the institution didn't provide me this. I did my best, my management did provide me this. I did my best, the minister didn't provide me this. So all these are excuses. A leader will foresee these challenges and prepare and keep all those strategies ready. So I think the greatest investment which an institution or a business house or a society or a state or country can do is invest in the right type of leader. With this, I congratulate Kripanidhi institutions for this wonderful initiative they are taking, and my best wishes to all the students, viewers, faculty, industry leaders who may be there, and my best wishes to all of you. I am a very optimistic. I say always that sun sets only to rise again. Sun never sets to say it went off. So I think maybe we are having a challenge of the pandemic and there are disadvantages, but we will rise again and we'll continue to be there. With this optimistic and positive view, I wish you all the very best and thank you for inviting me this morning.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful words that you have spoken. I think you've geared up the entire webinar in the right direction. And what I understand, there's no excuse. No excuse. You have to have a responsible to face the challenge. We are in a challenging time, and sir has very clearly told that we need to have dedicated leaders, great leaders, that we depend upon great leaders, who have the responsibility and we have resilience to take things forward. I think it's important to know your leader and things are going to change and transform. And it has been a great talk sir has given. I think everyone who's listening, if we really understand and follow this, I think we will not be in fear or we will not be scared of what's happening, what is going to be our future, or try to do shortcut. As sir said very clearly, there are no shortcuts. You have to go through the process, through the responsibility. We are going to come back. It's a time that we're going through some challenges, certain things are happening, but that is not our end. But we are getting up to come stronger and much better and more responsible. So, sir, thank you so much for your wonderful words, and thank you for getting us up. Thank you for putting this stage on fire now. We have wonderful speakers all along the day, and I think we will take every word that we have spoken. I think all the students and faculty across India, different places, would be definitely holding on the golden words that you have spoken, and things are going to be definitely doing better. Thank you, sir, for being a part of this webinar. Thank you so much in all your busy schedule that you came and you made this inauguration of this webinar. We thank you a lot. Thank you so much, sir. So everyone, so we are happy that we had sir with us, and he has accepted to be a part of this, and we could have none better than having sir to be a part and to address this entire webinar. So throughout this day, we have various speakers that they'll be coming. We have made sure that we have people from the corporate, we have people from the entertainment, we have people from the sports, and people from different sectors who are going to be a part here. The reason is why we need to bring such a webinar is, we all have certain dreams. We want to be somebody, I want to get into my sports, or I want to get into my acting, or I want to get into my corporate, or I want to launch my own business. But this entire situation has put kind of a fear in people, and they're trying to change the perspective of what the future is, or they want to get into something that is safe and comfortable. But I want to tell you, we have experts from various fields. They are going to tell you the challenges, what they faced, and how successfully that they have come out. It's always not that, failure is the end, but the failure is the beginning of our success or our rise from where we are. So we are going to have people who are some of the icons and some of the celebrities are going to be speaking throughout this day. I want you all to be logged in, and I want you all to be connected. And we're going to have a panel discussion between 3 to 4. Great panelists are there, and we are going to really have wonderful panelists to be a part of it. So I'm handing over to the other speaker who's going to speak and enlighten this webinar.